Hey everybody, my name is Braylon Rising, and today's video I will be covering the case of Adrianne Reynolds. I filmed the intro and outro separate, so if I look different, now you know. I wanted to add in a quick little disclaimer that I do not mean any harm to any of the families or people mentioned in this video. I have compiled resources and information from different sources, and I will link every single source that I use for this video down below. I want to make these videos to bring awareness to these cases. I hope you enjoy this video as much as I did making it, and without further ado, let's dive into the case. Adrianne Reynolds was born on September 12, 1988 in Gilmore, Texas. She moved at age 16 to East Moline to live with her adoptive father, Tony, and stepmother, Joanne Reynolds. Her biological mother had actually sent Adrianne to go live with her adoptive father and stepmother because her and her mother were having a lot of issues together. Adrianne was kind of out of control, and she had hoped that sending her away would conform her a little bit better than her mom was doing. Adrianne, already at the age of 12, had assault charges, been to rehab, and was self-harming. But despite this all, Adrianne was a beautiful girl and had big dreams to join the Marine. Adrianne was smart, but she did not have enough credits and hated high school. Adrianne was enrolled into the Black Hawk College Outreach Center, which is the same place that I got my GED. And November 4th, 2004, shortly after, is when Adrianne met Sara Noble. Sara Noble was well known at the school. She had kind of her own reputation already built. She could kind of fit her into the scene kids, I guess you could say. She wore a lot of black and had a lot of piercings. Sorry for the shift in scenery. The sun is following me at a very weird rate right now, so ignore that. Adrianne and Sara automatically clicked and became best friends, almost inseparable. Adrianne's parents were not fond of this relationship. They judged Sara by her appearance. Sara wore a lot of black, and they did not like that. As their friendship grew, so did Sara's feelings for Adrianne. Sara opened up to Adrianne about being bisexual, and Adrianne admitted to her that she was bi-curious. Sara saw this as an open chance, and they soon started talking about dating and were becoming more and more like each other. Adrianne actually started dressing like Sara and looked up to her more and more. Sara, unbeknownst to Adrianne, had a best friend named Cory McGregory, who she wanted to introduce to Adrianne. Now, before I continue on, I wanted to do a backstory of Sara and Cory just so you understand their relationship dynamic. Sara and Cory were known to be inseparable. Cory was infatuated with Sara. He loved everything about her and just wanted her to want him back. Sara kind of used this to her own advantage and had Cory almost wrapped around her finger. Sara was always hot and cold with Cory and sent him a lot of mixed signals. She was also very possessive of him and controlling. That was Cory and Adrianne's little backstory. Let's hop back into where we were. Adrianne was still very boy crazy and was known as the it girl at high school. A lot of the interviews I saw with the boys all said that she was very pretty and were very head over heels for her. This made Sara extremely jealous, and she could almost feel Adrianne slipping away, and this made her kind of lose her marbles a little bit. Sara almost felt threatened by Adrianne. Adrianne was taking her spot as queen bee and got a lot more attention than Sara was. Sara needed Adrianne to need her. This made Sara want to know where her and Adrianne's friendship actually stood. So Sara went around telling classmates, "I need to test Adrianne. I need to see she is the one that I want to date." So Sara comes up with this plan to invite Adrianne out to this party in Rock Island called the Party House. All seemed to be going well at this party until Sara notices Adrianne flirting with another guy. Adrianne actually ended up sleeping with this guy that night, and this caused Sara to lose her shit. She actually pulled a knife out on Adrianne. As much as everyone was shocked, nobody took it really seriously. Sara was known to be full of empty threats. Nobody ever figured that she would actually act upon what she said. So they went about their day, and the next night, Adrianne actually went to the same house to another party, where she ended up meeting another guy who she slept with there too as well. Sara showed up to this party and found out, and you can guess what happened from there. Sara started calling Adrianne names in front of everybody like a skank and a whore, and this caused Adrianne to run out of the house crying. Cory McGregory went after Adrianne after this to comfort her, and this enraged Sara even more. After this night, Adrianne and Cory actually became closer together and would start hanging out without Sara around. Adrianne was even quoted saying, "I love Cory because he's respectful, cute, honest, and the sweetest guy I've ever met, and I think I'm beginning to trust him." This caused Sara to go around spreading rumors about Adrianne. Adrianne and Sara wrote each other notes back and forth, and one of Adrianne's notes was quoted saying, Sara, why do you hate me so much? Why do you want me to die? January 1st, 2005, Sara Knoll took it upon herself to go around telling people that she was going to try and patch things up with Adrianne. Sara went up to Adrianne that Friday and asked her if she wanted to go get lunch with her, Cory, and Sean at Taco Bell. Adrianne accepted the offer and they all headed to Sara's car. Sara sat in the front driver's seat, Adrianne sat in the passenger seat, while the two boys sat in the back. Sean is not mentioned a lot in this story, and you will see why, but that is why I'm not acknowledging him as much as everybody else right now. Cory mentioned the tension in that car on the way to Taco Bell was insane. They pulled into the back of the Taco Bell parking lot, and almost immediately the two girls started fighting. When Cory was first asked about what happened in that car, he said, quote, "I don't want to talk about the specifics of what happened in that car. It is between Sara, Adrianne, and myself." Sara started hitting Adrianne repeatedly over the head. Cory said, quote, "Sara just screamed and grabbed her hair and started whispering something in her ear." Sean told Sara that she needed to stop, and Sara turned to him and said, "If you don't like it, get out of my car." Sean thankfully listened and removed himself from that situation out of the car and walked away. Sara then grabbed Adrianne by the back of the hair and turned her head to Cory and said, "You stay away from him." Cory sat in the back seat the whole time doing nothing. He later told investigators that the fight almost seemed inevitable. He thought the best thing to do was hash it out and get it over with. Cory later opened up to investigators and gave false insight to what happened. He said, quote, "Sara is on top of Adrianne and choking her, and then Adrianne goes out and Sara gets off her and sits in the front seat. We sat and smoked a cigarette for a while. We thought she passed out, and then finally we looked back and her face was blue, and she started freaking out after that, you know? We didn't know what to do." And as we and the investigators soon learned, everything Cory was saying was a lie. What actually happened is Adrianne ended up landing a punch on Sara's nose, which caused Cory to step in. Cory grabbed his belt while Sara and him held Adrianne's arms down and strangled her. There were no witnesses when this was happening. One man said he walked by and thought kids were just having sex in the car because it was shaking. Other than that, nobody else saw this going on. After they realized Adrianne was dead, they needed to find a way to dispose of her remains. Sara's first idea was her grandfather's farm, where she thought they could drive out there and bury her body. They drove all the way out to Sara's grandfather's farm, and their attempts were unsuccessful at burying her body. The ground was frozen. Their next idea was to burn Adrianne's remains. They wrapped her body in a tarp and took gasoline and dumped it on her and set her on fire. This was not going the way they planned, and her body wasn't turning into ash like they had expected. They actually had to go run to the store to get more gasoline while they were doing this because her body just wasn't burning. Cory claimed they chose to light Adrianne's body on fire to give her a proper burial and a proper cremation, when we all know that they actually did it to dispose and hide her remains. Since Adrianne's body was not burning the way it thought it would, they had to find a new idea to dispose of her. Sara's next bright idea was to cut Adrianne's body up, and they felt they had the perfect candidate to do this. This person was Nate Gaudette, who was known to be very into gory, scary horror movies and would kill animals around the town. They were not even friends with Nate, they were acquaintances. So for them to just call him up and ask if he wanted to help and saw a body into pieces is pretty out there. Sara called Nate and asked if he wanted to help assist them in cutting up the body, and Nate actually agreed. It's pretty mind-blowing of how young these kids are and how cold and calculated this all was. The next day, which was a Saturday, Sara and Cory went and picked Nate up, who had a saw ready with him. They drove out to Sara's grandfather's farm, where they smoked marijuana and began cutting up the body. Sara said that they spoke about music while cutting up the body to distract themselves of what was happening right in front of their very eyes. No clue how you can, one, smoke weed and cut up a body. I feel like you would be very paranoid. I don't know how they weren't, and weed is such a downer. I don't know how somebody in their right mind could be on this, especially 3 people be on this and not one person feel a little out of line. It's kind of weird to me. Like, these people must have all been really screwed up in the fucking head. You know, like, usually in these cases there's one person that leads it all and the other people just follow because they're so scared of that person. I feel like these people were just all just crazy in their own way. Let alone talking about music while you're cutting up somebody. I mean, if you really think about all the work that goes into cutting up somebody, and it's just pretty brutal. They ended up dumping most of Adrianne's remains in the ravine of Sara's grandfather's farm. Cory held open a trash bag and Nate placed Adrianne's head and arms into it. They actually wanted to bury her arms and head separate because they felt these were the most identifiable body parts of her, and they did not want police to find it and collect dental records or fingerprints, which goes to show more how guilty they really were. Put her into the trunk and headed to McDonald's, which was right across the street from the Taco Bell they had murdered Adrianne at the night before. They ate at McDonald's, which was crazy to me, how you could eat after seeing all that. And when asked how Cory was able to eat after enduring all that, he responded with, "We were high." From there, they drove to Black Hawk State Park, which is very close to me. It is a beautiful park. Meanwhile, while this is all happening, Adrianne's parents were freaking out because she had not returned home from school that day, and she had also missed her shift at their local fast food restaurant, Checkers. Adrianne's dad was even quoted saying she wasn't an angel, but she would never miss a shift of work. By 7:30 that Friday night, Adrianne's parents had called the police and filed a missing persons report. It got a lot of media attention just because this type of stuff does not happen in Moline or East Moline at all. It's rare that somebody goes missing. Police began to question if this case was a runaway, but Adrianne's dad had a fair argument that no teenager would run away without their paycheck. And police decided to look furthermore into Adrianne's classmates and question them. Friends of Adrianne had reported that Adrianne left school early that day to go get lunch with Sara, Cory, and a boy named Sean. An officer called Sara from home, and this is how the conversation went. Police officer: "Okay, you had contact with her today?" Sara: "Yes, I did." Police officer: "When was that?" Sara: "In between 12:30 and 1. Police officer: "Were you and Cory giving her a ride somewhere?" Sara: "Yes, sir." She then explained to the officer that she dropped Adrianne off at the McDonald's across from Taco Bell because Adrianne lived close to McDonald's, and Adrianne's dad would not have been fond of seeing her in the car with another boy. Adrianne's dad did reclaim the statement and did agree with it, that he would not have liked to see Adrianne in the car with a boy, so he could understand why Sara would do this. Although Adrianne's parents were not too suspicious of Sara, police had an inkling feeling that something was just not right here and decided to give Sara another call. This call went much different. The officer called and again asked if Sara and Adrianne were friends, and Sara admitted, "No, I don't like her." When asked why Sara gave her a ride, then Sara explained the fight they had at school that day and how she was going to try and fix things with her. On the phone, Sara also says, quote, "I'll be honest with you, I hit her." The officer responded with just okay, and Sara continued, "She hit me back, and all props to her, she hit me hard too." The conversation continued to go on, and it was odd, and I'm sure you can find the full conversation online. I will try and find it and link it for you in the description if you want to hear the full phone call. But that alone, that conversation was already kind of a red flag to police. The police were informed that the school that they attended were required to keep journals, and the police went down there and confiscated Adrianne and Sara's. When they went through Sara's journal, they found some pretty incriminating evidence, and here are some of the entries she wrote herself. One entry said, "Hate, kill, destroy." Another said, "Everyone is driving me crazy, and all I want to do is slaughter them like the fucking sheep they are." Another entry was written on the day of Adrianne's murder, and it read, "So I might be getting expelled today for spreading the fucking gif. Stupid bitch needs to back off my Kool-Aid. She's gonna give him a note? Yeah? Well, I'll fucking kill her." Soon, investigators realized it would be a lot easier to find the suspects, more so than they thought. Because 3 days after the murder, Cory mentioned to his mom, "Do we have a lawyer? We need a lawyer." That same day, he was interviewed by police, and on the way home, Cory broke down to his parents, telling them that he needs to talk to the investigators. Cory's dad called the police, and Cory admitted everything that he and Sara had done to Adrianne. Cory McGregory then led investigators to the charred remains of Adrianne at Sara's grandfather's farm. And the day after, Cory led investigators down a steep, icy path to a manhole covered by dirt. Inside was a trash bag that held Adrianne's arms and head. She was burnt beyond recognition, and at 2 a.m., police had to make the devastating phone call to Adrianne's parents. February 1st, 2005, Sara and Cory were tried for the murder of Adrianne Reynolds. They were both charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder. Sara was given 53 consecutive years, while Cory was given 45. Nate Gaudette, who cut up the body, was charged with concealment and given 5 years. He only served 4, but shortly after died in an automobile accident. To this day, Cory still remains on Sara's side and lives and swears by Sara. Please share your thoughts on this case, and if you guys could suggest any other cases to me, please feel free to do so in the comments below. Leave a like and subscribe. And also, if you need more information on this case or you want to know more, feel free to hit me up and I will give you whatever info you need. I got most of this info from a podcast, I think called Morbid, and I can leave the link in the description as well for that. That concludes today's case. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sorry if it was a little choppy. It was my first crime video and it's a learning experience for me because I'm learning as I go. I know as my videos go on there will be improvements. Just cut me some slack on this one. But I don't just make crime videos. I also have a second channel for vlogs of when me and my boyfriend go on our trips. So if you are interested in videography, cinematic kind of shit, then please go subscribe there. I will leave everything linked below. Leave a like, comment, or subscribe on this video. And if you have any cases that you would like me to cover, please leave them in the comments below, or you can email me at my business email, which all will be in the descriptions. And I will see you all in the next video.